Hello and welcome to our new show with me and Raza Farooq. We are going to discuss about football, and that is English Premier League on weekly basis. So we are going to discuss with you about the upcoming matches which are going to take place every week, and we are also going to discuss about the sought after matches which are the marquee matches that would be at the very end. We are also going to discuss with you the fantasy players which we think are going to perform this week. So we are going to begin with Aston Villa versus Brentford. Look, Aston Villa have been performing well, and you must give credit to them that even without Grealish, their superstar player who has left for Manchester City for 100 million British record euros, has been doing still well, and they have won both of their games. But Brentford, on the other hand, which have been promoted, have given a good account of themselves. They have beaten Arsenal at rational top 16, and they have drawn against Crystal Palace, which shows that there were no fluke in the first game itself. For this game, I think with Aston Villa having a home game, Mr. Raza Farouk, I think Aston Villa has an edge over here. With Ings in superb form, he's always scoring. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mr. Usman. I think Aston play very well on counter attacks and they rely heavily on aims. I think they will perform very well against Brentford. Although you can't rule out Brentford because they don't let their opponents to take many shots on their goals. But you can't rule out Aston Villa as they ings in a very good spring.
And you can also look into the defense that Aston Villa carries with them. They have a very good defensive record with Mings, who has been a good player for England as well. He has got an England call up too. And with Ings, he is always scoring. So scoring which shouldn't be a problem for Aston Villa. And with their good defense, I think Bradford have their work cut out. I think I'm going to go with an Aston Villa win with their home game, considering they have a home game and with the fans back in the stadium that is going to give them an extra impetus. I think Aston Villa is going to win. What do you say, Mr. Razafaru? Do you think Aston Villa is going to win this
Exactly,
game?
exactly.
Or Brentford has some edge over them?
No, I totally agree that
So
Aston
I
will
think for
easily
me,
win
the
it.
player to watch out, the player to watch out for me is Ings and Mings, that great defender and a super striker. And I think this Ings is going to score at least 15 goals in this season. What do you say, Mr. Razafaru? And he has
I
some
thought,
good, easy games coming up too.
yeah, exactly. Ings is the kind of player who scores 15 to 20 goals per season, and you can easily bet on this kind of player. And I would suggest for our
So I
fantasy
think
fans that they should include Ings into their team if they want a cheap striker. What do you say?
I think Inns is a good bet. Inns is a good bet. I think we both are going to agree on this. Aston Villa win this in this game. So we should move
Yeah,
on with the other
exactly.
game, Brighton versus Everton.
Yeah, Brighton versus Everton. What
I
would you
think I
say?
think this game is a bit dicey. It's not that straightforward. It's not that straightforward, is it?
Oh, it's rough. You
Brighton has
can't
a very
rule
good
out
defensive
Rafa
record.
Benitez.
No, even Brighton, if you look at Brighton, last year they were the third best in not letting shots on their goals after City and Liverpool. This gives a huge account of themselves as defending side. And their coach, their manager, is very, very highly rated. Even big clubs were looking after him this season, although he stayed back. But I think Brighton is going to give a good account of themselves. With the reason you can see that even Sanchez, their goalkeeper, is much sought after fantasy goalkeeper by many of the players in the world, throughout the world. But with Richarlison and DCL, they are always a threat at goal. I think this is going to be a fascinating contest between Sanchez, Brighton defense, and DCL and Richarlison. With Brighton, their Maupay, their good, great striker, who even last year scored some good goals, and he has already opened his account this year as well. He's injured, and he is a doubt for this game. This could be a huge blow for Brighton. So Brighton have their work cut out, but with Bissouma, he's in good form. This good midfielder can fetch you some points as well. So I think probably a Brighton win or a draw. I think Everton is not going to win this game. What do you suggest?
Uh, if you take my point, I think it's although it's a away game for Everton, but you can't rule out that Rafa Benitez is going to tickle his players like Albert Lewin and Richarlison to take kind out the results. What do you say?
I think Brighton have a very good defense, and it's early. It's very early in the season, so I think Brighton will also go to score goals, and there they can hit them on the counter. Rafa Benitez loves counter-attacking football, and with
Exactly.
Richarlison, the newly gold medalist in Olympics, is in good form. Calvert-Lewin always scores. DCL always scores goals, so you cannot rule out a goal-scoring draw probably, but I think Brighton with Bissouma in good form and their super solid defensive record and a home game. I think this is going to be somewhere around 1-1 draw.
Oh, you are going for a draw.
Yes, I think it's a draw. And the
Oh.
fantasy players to watch out, I will never rule out Bissouma, Richarlison, and DCL. I think these three players are going to fetch some points and not to rule out Brighton's defense and Sanchez as goalkeeper. If they are going to shut Everton out, Sanchez has a huge role to play.
Exactly. Sanchez is the main man for Brighton if they have to shut down the Everton strikers. Okay, now
Okay,
let's move
so
to the next match.
what
Mhm.
is your verdict on this? A Brighton win, Everton win, or a draw?
Yeah, I am going with the Everton win 1-0 for Everton.
Oh, okay. So we are disagreeing on this. No problem. So the
Yeah,
next game, it's Newcastle versus Southampton. Newcastle once was a super side. It's a big club. It's a huge club. Alan Shearer legacy it has. But of late, they have been fighting relegation battle. Even this season, they have lost both of their games. And with the Southampton, they had a good outing last time. They drew with a mighty Manchester United side. And the Che Adams, he's in good form. And he's a cheap striker in the market. People can sort out who are looking for a cheap striker to adjust Lukaku, so they can go for Che Adams. He's in good scoring form. And with Newcastle struggling, I think Southampton should win this game. What do you say?
exactly. Newcastle has conceded 6 goals in 2 games, and they are totally relying on their striker Wilson. And for other opponent teams, it's very easy to sort them out and put them in their pockets. And Southampton has a defense which is way better than Newcastle's defense. So I think it's a easy win for Southampton. And
Or you
Southampton
think it's an
got
easy
a
win? I
draw
think it
last
could be a
week.
tough game. Yeah, they
Southampton will
got
be
a draw
high
against Manchester
on.
United.
Exactly.
And Newcastle will be under pressure. They have a home game. They have lost both the games. Okay, I agree that Southampton has lost to Everton in their first game, but in the second game, they have given a good account of themselves. They have matched Manchester United. They drew 1-1. I think as the season progresses and with all their players in form, Southampton has shown last year what they're capable of doing.
Exactly. Southampton shows their positive signs, their attacking capabilities, their defensive capabilities. Although they lost that Fonte Phantom with their नहीं इसको कट कर दे इसको दोबारा करते हैं. Yeah, I
So I think we
totally.
both are agreeing on this. A Southampton win maybe or a draw. I think it's going to be somewhere around a draw. A 1-1 maybe. Wilson is going to score for me. And Che Adams, I think he's going to score 1-2. I think it's a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw, or I think 1-0 for Southampton.
1-0 for Southampton. Okay, we are moving on to the next game. It's Norwich versus Leicester City. Norwich hasn't given a very
Uh,
good account of themselves. They are a newly promoted side. They haven't shown yet that they belong to this field of football, the top flight. Leicester, on the other hand, has been disappointing. They have not shown some good football this season. But with a team of Vardy and Nacho and Madison, and with Barnes fully fit now, I think they are hitting their strides now. I think Leicester should win this game. If they don't win it, it would be a very disappointing result for them.
yeah, exactly. It would be for me. It would be a disaster if Leicester won't win this match. Norwich not even score a single goal in 2 matches, and they have conceded 8 goals in their last 2 matches. It's a huge count if you consider it for Leicester's
It's,
perspective.
it's raining goals against Norwich. So I think
Yeah,
Vardy should be licking his lips. I should score a couple of goals now.
yeah, sure. For fantasy, it would be an awesome pick for Vardy. If you want to score points in this week, then you should include Vardy in your fantasy team.
So I think Barnes, Madison, and Vardy are
And
going to be
what?
a good bet this season, and this week for them.
Exactly, without any doubt.
Okay. So Leicester win. We both are predicting. We should be moving to the next game. It's West Ham versus Crystal Palace. Oh, Raza, what are you going to talk about
Yeah,
West Ham? They are top of the table. They are firing all cylinders. Antonio is in brilliant form. Benrahma, Fornals, you just name them. They are just firing everything. Criswell is brilliant at the back all the time, always, every season, every game. He's on fire.
exactly. They are like flying in their own streams. Antonio and Benrahma, what would you say about them? They are just keeping West Ham on their highest points. And
I
on the
agree with you.
contrary,
Antonio,
if you think Crystal Palace, then what would I say? They didn't even score a single goal. But although they didn't score a goal, but they only conceded 3 goals in 2 games. So their defense a little bit shaky at moments, but on the whole, their defense is okay. But against West Ham, I won't think that it would stand against them because West
as
Ham
I
will
agree
definitely score.
With Patrick Vieira just joining the side, he hasn't shown much about what he's bringing to the table for Crystal Palace. They had Roy Hodgson. He was always fighting. He was bringing out results somehow, somewhere, and Crystal Palace would always be in the mid-table. But this season, I think Vera needs some time to get into the strides and understand what is English football all about. But it is too early for them to face a West Ham side which is just firing all cylinders. They are in the league of their own. I think this should be an easy 3-1 win with Antonio, Ben Rahma, Fornals, and Cresswell. They're all firing, man. This is going to be a straightforward win for them.
What would you suggest for fantasy fans is for this match?
Antonio any day and Cresswell, if you are going to pick two, Antonio and Cresswell. But you cannot just rule out Ben Rahma. He's averaging more than 8 to 10 points.
Exactly. I would go with Antonio and Benrahma. Both they are
Okay.
cheap in
So then,
market and can easily be included in the teams.
so the next game, it's Burnley versus Leeds. I think Leeds all the way. Last season, they have beaten Burnley in the same fixture, away to Burnley 4-0. And with Rafinha, Bamford, Dallas, they're all again performing really well. And I think this is going to be a straightforward win for Leeds. What do you suggest with their super attacking football?
Yeah, it would be a straight win for Leeds.
Okay, so our suggestion for fantasy is Rafinha, Bamford, and Dallas.
Exactly. I would go with same.
Okay, so the next game it's Spurs versus Watford. I think with the great news that Kane is going to stay for Spurs, this is a massive morale booster for them. So this should, with Kane, Dele Alli performing again, and Son is doing really well. I think Nuno Santo has been doing really fine with Spurs with their strong defensive record. Lloris is performing really well. They have shut out the other side in both the games, and Watford have lost 4 of the games. They have just been promoted to the league. I think this is again going to be a straightforward win with a clean sheet for Spurs.
Yeah, definitely. You are exactly on point that Spurs Tottenham will be high on their morals. Harry Kane is going to stay, which is surprising, although, but for Tottenham fans, it would be a great news. Son and with Harry Kane, you just name the numbers, and they shown us in last season what they are capable of doing.
Agreed. So it's a straightforward win for Spurs, I'd say.
Straightforward win for Spurs. What would you
So
suggest
we're
a
going to,
score line for this match
I
specifically?
think it's going to be somewhere around 3-0.
Oh, I would go with 2-1 or 3-1.
Okay, I think Spurs is going to shut out Watford, but you suggest they're going to score a goal against this Spurs side. Let's see.
There is
Let's
a
catch up on that.
fantastic fact that I would like to share with you at this point. If you look at the fixtures as Tottenham and Watford had in the previous times, normally they got draw. Or if you go beyond
Oh,
this, then
okay.
home team wins that match. But that
Okay.
always a
Okay. So
scoring
let's see.
game.
You think it's a bit, it's going to be a scoring victory for them. I think Spurs is going to get a clean sheet. Let's move to the other game. It's Wolves
Let's
versus United. Straightforward for United.
yes.
I think the only thing they're going to find out here is whether Sancho is going to play full 90 minutes. Otherwise, it's a straightforward victory for United.
Exactly, they have to figure out that where they have to put Sanchez because Sanchez, they have Wyatt. It's a marquee
Sancho.
signing for them this season. Sancho, yes. Yeah, they have to figure out that where they have to put Sancho in this lineup. It's a marquee signing for them this season. So it's just tickling for old Solskjaer that how he has to plan his game plan. Otherwise, he's feeling some pressure from the start of the season because he got a draw the last week. And if he continue to spend similar, then it would be a huge trouble for him.
So I think it's a straightforward victory, and fantasy players to pick out for me is always Bruno Fernandes, a certain Bruno Fernandes, and with Pogba, he's in blistering form and he's set early pace for player maker of the year. He has already got 5 assists, and that is huge.
Yeah, I would go with Bruno Fernandes only. Pogba is a little shaky at times.
Okay, so Manchester United victory. So we have
Yeah,
to move to our marquee matches.
yeah, exactly. Our two marquee matches.
Okay, so you
First
start, Mr.
one,
Daparu.
first one with Manchester City versus Arsenal. So, what would you say?
You call it a marquee match anymore? It's not a marquee match anymore. It's a straightforward
Yeah,
victory of
as
Manchester
per
City,
recent
even without Harry Kane. Even
recent
without
form.
Harry Kane.
Yeah, the sort of form in which Arsenal is doing, it's not a marquee match, but let's make it a marquee match and consider it a marquee match. Arsenal, although it's not a top four contender, but Arsenal is a top six contender. At least I must give that respect to Arsenal.
Yeah, it's a top six contender. Yeah, I agree with you. But I think with Mahrez in blistering form, Sterling is scoring again, and with Kevin De Bruyne back, Grealish is in good form. I think Manchester City has lot of stuff that can be put on Arsenal and they can just destroy Arsenal. Arsenal just cannot match them. They don't have a good goalkeeper. They don't have a good defense. They don't have a good midfield. Their strikers are injured. They're not performing. Aubameyang, Lacazette, they all are either half fit or they're just not available. I think they don't have resources to match Manchester City. I think Manchester City are just going to crush them.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you that Arsenal has no match with Manchester City firepower. There are lots of question marks on Arsenal, but for me, it's a straight win for Manchester City.
Manchester City and the fantasy players, I think, what can you say about Pep Guardiola? You just cannot guess who is going to play. It's
No,
very
you
difficult.
can you can you
Probably.
can name two players that must be on the score sheet, on the team sheet. First one is Ederson and second one is Diaz.
Yeah, otherwise, it's very difficult. You cannot even guess Grealish would be playing with that 100 million tag. It's
Exactly.
Guardiola. He is a nightmare for fantasy managers. He's a nightmare for fantasy managers. Okay, so I
No
think it's going
doubt.
to be a straightforward victory, and we should be moving to our last game. It's Chelsea versus Liverpool.
Yeah, it's Liverpool versus Chelsea.
It's
Chelsea,
Liverpool versus
although
Chelsea. Liverpool versus
yeah,
Chelsea. So Liverpool is hosting Chelsea. I think it is too early in the season. The two title contenders who are definitely going to challenge Manchester City come end of the season. It's very difficult to guess. Both have strong defense, midfield. They have good strike force. They have Mohamed Salah. Here it is Romelu Lukaku. So it is going to be a very tight game. I think a moment could win this game, or it could be a draw. I think it could be a draw with the two very solid defense and too early into the season. I think the teams are just beginning to hit their strides. So it would be very difficult. I don't see a high scoring game anyway. I think it is going to be a 0-0 draw. Although both teams have lavish attacking power, but with the solid midfield and defense and great goalkeepers. Mendy doesn't let goals in. Alisson, everybody's aware of him. With Van Dijk back, Liverpool's defense is no more leaking goals like last season. Uh, Tuchel has done really well with the Chelsea's defense. Both have equally good midfield and both have equally good attacking force. So I think it is going to be a 0-0 draw. And while betting on fantasy players, I would have loved to add Salah and Romelu Lukaku, but considering it's very early in the season, there may be an attacking game of football, but with the solid defense, I don't see many goals into this game. I would rather have strong defenders in the side rather than having good strikers to score goals. If you want to have an attacking player, I think Jota would be a good option. He's a cheap option in the market. And spending on Salah with 12.5 million tag and not bringing out any results, and Lukaku with 11.5, it could be, I think, a bad news this week for the fantasy managers. Jota would be a good option with that cheap price tag on him.
Yeah, exactly, bro. As far as Liverpool is concerned, they got a new life with the fully fit Jota. Last season they got Jota, but he spent most of his time on benches or on medical grounds. He was not part of the team. But this season, Salah, Jota, they are just driving their team and grinding out results. Along with, as you mentioned, that their defense, Alisson is guarding their defense, and you can't rule out Liverpool from the title race. Robertson has yet to show his skills. Alexander-Arnold, you have
Robertson is fully fit now.
Yeah, Robertson is fully fit, and you have skipped Alexander-Arnold. For fantasy players, he's giving a lot of
yeah, he's a strong defense. Yeah, he's a very good option. Yes. He's a very good option for fantasy with that solid defensive record, and you can never rule out his assist from the game.
Exactly.
He's always going to assist from somewhere, from somehow. He's an excellent addition to fantasy football.
No doubt, no doubt. And for Chelsea have shown that what they are capable of doing. Last season, Tuchel has made a significant progress in this team, in this bunch of players. Although
they're European champions.
They are European champions. So Conte played a significant role, although I would not suggest that you should put him on your fantasy team because he's good on ground, but not for fantasy players.
He doesn't fetch points.
Exactly. So this season, Chelsea is deadly with the addition of Lukaku, as you have already mentioned. It's a big Lukaku. So it's a draw. It would be a draw, 0-0 draw. I would go with 0-0 draw.
I would go with the scoring draw with the lavish attacking force both teams have. A Lukaku goal scoring or a Jota Salah scoring. I think it's a 1-1 draw.
Let's hope for the best.
Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is all we have for this week. Until next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
बंद कर मैं अपना शीशा लगा लूं यार